couple of nights ago in Toronto. The Spurs coming off a loss a couple of evenings ago in Chicago.
And a lot of fans with their phones out to get this jump ball. They haven't seen Victor in person. They're seeing something the likes they haven't seen before.
This is the first meeting between these two teams this year. The last time they met was about a year ago on Wembanyama's birthday, but Giannis and the Bucks spoil the party as we're going to get a whistle and a foul against Milwaukee. Actually, no, it's going to be a defensive 3-second violation. So Chris Paul will go to the free throw line and shoot this shot. He's a 98% free throw shooter on the season.
Milwaukee starting out with Giannis guarding Wemby, and there was a switch, and Andre Jackson Jr. had to pick him up. And Wemby's gotten a lot better about when he gets a mismatch of taking it down into the post and operating decisively when he gets down there.
A lot has been made about the number and the volume of threes that he shoots. But Mitch Johnson, their interim head coach, says they want to be creating an environment for him that doesn't stifle his creativity. Castle getting creative. He out-jumped Giannis and got the putback.
And he timed it out better than Giannis did. That was an odd bounce, but he timed it very, very well. I guess it's a little easier to time it out when your arms go forever.
Antetokounmpo probing, turns it over to Vassell.
You know, before the game, Mark, where you're just watching, Wembanyama touched the top of the backboard. I've never seen a player do that.
He is a unique breed. One of one. Vassell on the probe. Had it blocked by Brook Lopez, and it comes off to Lillard. Lillard coming off a good shooting night in Toronto a couple of nights ago where he had 25. Giannis against Harrison Barnes, and Wemby put Giannis in the friend zone real early with that block.
Wemby might have caught his hand on something, maybe even the rim going by to block that shot, and just wiped it away.
Jeez.
And that actually happened against Toronto to Giannis in a chase down block. He cut his finger on the rim.
Yeah. Had a couple stitches after the game. Here's Castle back the other way off the bucket by the Bucks. Aim to the side for Castle, drives it on Lillard. Good help defense by Lopez, and that's going to be a double dribble against the rookie out of UConn.
Castle is strong and athletic and can really drive the ball, but you're right, that was really good help defense by Brook Lopez. Lopez setting a step-up screen for Lillard, and he can pick and pop off that.
Lillard off the mark with the three. Here's Wembanyama. That one-legged three ball.
Come on.
We said that he was unique. There's some evidence.
But not just that, but he pulled up basically from the logo, gave a shot fake, and Andre Jackson Jr. flew right by. And he's got that shot credibility even from 27 feet.
Always a threat. Lopez put Wembanyama in the air, and Jackson missed the alley-oop. Back comes Chris Paul. Chris Paul was clutch. He was excellent, brilliant a couple of nights ago down the stretch against Chicago. Finds Barnes, and that one rims out.
Yeah, Chris Paul had 18 points in that game against Chicago. And you're right, down the stretch, he was the only guy scoring for San Antonio.
So in transition, Jay, Castle gets matched up against Giannis, and he draws the foul going to the rim. Let's go back to Wembanyama, shooting close to 36%.
Now watch when he catches it. Just gives a shot fake, and Andre Jackson Jr. flies by, and then he goes off. Little Dirk action there almost. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Wembanyama averaging just a shade under 26 per game. 232 threes in his career. About a year and a half into his career.
In that game against Chicago a couple nights ago, he had 23 points, 14 rebounds, and 8 blocked shots against the Bulls.
Antetokounmpo line drive free throw short. He's shooting about 61% from the stripe this year.
And leads the NBA in free throw attempts. Shoots over 11 per game.
You mentioned it earlier, Jay. Number one in fast break points. Number one in points in the paint. Number one in transition points.
And don't you think this season he's played with an edge?
You can see it. Doc Rivers challenged him in training camp to get back to that defensive player of the year level of defense. And he's responded in kind. Here's Castle off the wide action. Paul finds him again. And rebounded by Giannis.
Now, Castle is not a great shooter yet. He's shooting under 30% from three. But he doesn't hesitate when he gets a good shot to put it up.
Speaking of one-legged step backs, Jay, Giannis has it from the mid-range.
Well, he's been showing that all season long. His mid-range shooting has really improved. He's shooting 55% between 10 and 16 feet. And that's going to be significant, Mark, when we get to the playoffs, because he's going to have to shoot a lot more of those. Defenses are really going to load up on him in the playoffs.
There's Wemby firing from deep off the mark, rebounded by Chris Paul. Barnes one more to Castle. Castle probes. He left that one on the front rim. Here's Dame Lillard. Dame making that transition in the adjustment to playing without the ball a little bit more, with the ball in Giannis's hands. Here's Lopez. Got it.
But Brook Lopez has shot the ball so well, especially of late. At 16 points against Toronto, was 4 of 8. They call him Splash Mountain. They've got some really good nicknames on this.
Yeah, they
team.
do. And it's a good three-point shooters. Wembanyama has that come off. A lot of shooting this year around Giannis. Lillard, one of those guys. Barnes switches onto him. Giannis has the mismatch. They double team it. Dame left open. That one halfway down and out, and Vassell with the board.
And even opposite, Brook Lopez was spotting up from about 25 feet.
Here's Vassell. Knocks down the long jump shot. Devin Vassell missed the first 21 games of the season, coming off of a foot injury.
And Vassell needed that one to go. He hasn't been shooting the ball as well as he's capable of lately. He's 3 of his last 23 from 3 before that one.
Leads the break. Castle, punched it home, forced it in. I'm not sure Lopez noticed that he made the dunk. Boy, did he ever make it.
Yeah, it hit the rim, and then he just forced it in. He is super athletic and strong.
Getting the start tonight in place of Jeremy Sohan. So we see Wembanyama, Jay, able to roam defensively as Lopez connects from deep.
That's the difficulty, though. When you go and bring multiple defenders at Giannis, he's passing out. And there's so many outstanding three-point shooters. And Brook Lopez, in their game against Toronto, hit his 1,000th three of his career. Talk about a guy who's transformed his game completely from when he got to the league to now.
That started in Brooklyn under Kenny Atkinson. Here's CP3 back out to Wembanyama. Nice show and go. Races up on Giannis. Oh, the circus is in Milwaukee tonight. We are seeing a little bit of everything from Wemby.
Not just elite skill, but elite feel.
Dame passed it back out, got tipped into the backcourt. Shot clock is down to 10. Lopez has scored the last 6 for the Bucks. Torian Prince knocks down the 3.
He is such a good corner shooter. That was just above the corner, but he knocks down over 45% from that corner area. But Victor Wembanyama, one with the shot fake from the corner, but gets around Giannis. Never touched any rim. Talk about elite feel.
Ooh.
Welcome back to Milwaukee. Victor Wembanyama is the first player in NBA history to score 2,000 points, 300 blocks, and have 200 threes in his first 100 games. You see a couple of buckets there that are amazing as well. And when I spoke to his teammate Harrison Barnes today, I asked him what surprised him about the 21-year-old phenom. And he said, well, I got to be honest with you, his laser focus. His focus about being great and mastering everything that he does. Not just on the floor, guys. He said, whether it's playing chess or even if you wanted to play him at ping pong, if you beat him at anything. For example, Harrison said if you would have beat him at ping pong, he'd go out and buy a ping pong table and come back, master that, and beat you. That's the type of laser focus that Victor Wembanyama has about the game of basketball and anything he does. He wants to be the best.
Yeah, great point, George. A voracious appetite for competition. Here's Giannis from outside, wide right a little bit, and here's Harrison Barnes into the front court. Barnes has meant so much, as George alluded to the Spurs team, one of the younger rosters. Here he is on the roll against Prince. Inside, knocks it home off glass. Harrison Barnes scores buckets, Jay, and takes on tough defensive assignments like tonight.
And always uses the glass very well. Another great corner shooter, top 10 in the NBA, but Both he and Chris Paul, Harrison Barnes, have been great leaders for the San Antonio team. They needed that.
Dame was looking to draw the foul and ended up getting the perfect carom to Lopez for the bucket.
Might ask for the assist.
Yes. 17-15, Spurs with the lead. I like the fact, if you're Milwaukee, you see Andre Jackson pressuring Chris Paul almost the full 94 feet.
Well, it makes it more difficult for Paul, but it also takes time off the clock. That's less time you have to guard in the front court, and it just makes your defense better.
Charles Bassey knocks home that shot. 4-point lead for San Antonio. Past the window, a point of the first quarter. Giannis cross court to Lopez. Tried to spray it to the corner to Prince. It's deflected out of bounds with 10 to go on the shot clock. Keldon Johnson will check into the ball game for the Spurs, as will Jones, Trey Jones, and Chris Middleton will come into a round of applause. A curious, perhaps, round of applause by these Bucks fans, along with Bobby Portis. So Chris Middleton is coming off the bench for now, says Doc Rivers. Trying to still work him into condition, still on a minutes restriction. Inside for Antetokounmpo, fouled on the alley-oop, and he'll get a couple of free throws.
Yeah, Chris Middleton didn't play in that game against Toronto. It was the first one he sat out after playing 12 straight. Just a little bump as Giannis was heading toward that lob.
That foul is going to go against Bassey, his first personal foul. Antetokounmpo back at the free throw line, missed his first 2 foul shots a little bit earlier. But Giannis leading the NBA in scoring and perhaps tracking towards another MVP honor. Key part of Greg Buckner's defense. As we take a look at the upcoming national TV schedule, NBA TV on Thursday has Minnesota in Orlando at 7 Eastern time. NBA TV Friday has Thunder versus the Knicks at 7:30. TNT next Tuesday has the Cavaliers, who defeated OKC in the first half of our doubleheader in a great game. They take on the Pacers at 7, then Nuggets Mavs at 9:30. The Mavs trying to get right now without Kyrie and Luka. They've dropped 5 consecutive contests.
Until they handed it to the Lakers.
Yep. Nice bounce back win for them. Bassey out top. Vassell on the drive, and Lillard with the board.
Well, Vassell didn't get that to go, but he's gotten off to a good start in this game, and defensively he's done a good job.
Chris Middleton back in the game.
Maybe gave a little bit too much help on Dame Lillard and left Chris Middleton wide open. And with Chris Middleton's history, you don't want to do that often.
A lethal mid-range and a long-range shooter as Champagnie counters at the other end.
When Champagnie catches the ball in the corner, that's like a layup to him. He shoots such a high percentage on corner threes, especially catch and shoot.
Lillard inside, had it knocked away, out of bounds. It'll stay Milwaukee basketball.
Yeah, Devin Vassell just trying to stop that penetration by Lillard, and then he's got to recover out to Middleton in a catch and shoot situation. Middleton's such an outstanding shooter, even though he's missed so much time. Still shooting over 40% from 3.
A.J. Green knocking down shots of late as well. Talked about the shooting that they put around Antetokounmpo. It has been lethal of late as they knock the game at 22.
Well, Green shoots 45% from 3. That's 3rd in the league.
What a great story he is out of Northern Iowa. Undrafted a few years ago. Here's Giannis leading the break.
And Giannis saw him the whole way.
Found him too, and found the right result. Green with a green light.
He saw him the whole way and just gave it a look away, almost like a quarterback that was not wanting to give away his second read, but that was his first read. What a great pass.
Jones on the drive. Vassell drives the closeout. Jones one more to a wide open Keldon Johnson, and rebounded by Portis.
Boy, they didn't get it to go, but San Antonio got a piece of the paint and then swing for a wide open 3.
They swing it to Portis here at the other end, and Johnson rebounds it. This Milwaukee defense much improved from a season ago. They're up to number 10 in defensive rating. Good rim protection right there, but San Antonio with another opportunity. Johnson back out top to Vassell.
Keldon Johnson looks like a different player this year.
Jay told me that he lost 30 pounds as Vassell was a little light on that shot, but Johnson is down to about 8% body fat after hiring a chef. But it's Giannis that's eating right now with a slam inside to give the Bucks a 5-point lead.
Giannis is averaging 6 assists per game. His eyes were never on A.J. Green, but he saw him the whole way, and then late in transition, that's an easy bucket.
You want to bounce up your life? All you got to do is get in with me.
Let's take a look at tonight's Fresh Take, brought to you by Subway, and some of the numbers from the reigning Emirates NBA Cup champs. The Milwaukee Bucks going 6-0, and all other games 12-16. When you look at the numbers, though, Jay, beyond the numbers, Doc Rivers feels like he has a team that is built for the playoffs and all the important moments in it.
Yeah, it's been interesting. And talking to Doc Rivers today, he said something I thought was really interesting. He said, you put something in front of us and we can beat anybody. Meaning you put a trophy in front of us, the playoff, obviously talking about toward the playoffs, but there's been a lot of talk recently since that win in the NBA Cup. Milwaukee's been losing to essentially some lottery teams.
Right.
And there's been talk about, hey, we're not playing right. We're not taking the right approach. There's been frustration. There's no presence on defense, things like that. But I think Doc Rivers feels like, look, they've had some illness recently. Giannis and Dame have missed 4 games each, 2 of those games each for illness. And Chris Middleton just getting back into the swing of things. But I think they feel really confident that if they are healthy and playing well at the end of the year, that they can really do some damage in the playoffs.
Yeah, we saw the heightened intensity from Giannis and from Dame Lillard. Giannis with the offensive rebound cleared a little bit of space as Milwaukee down in the middle of a 10-0 run. They lead it by 7.
Yeah, Wembanyama was right there, but Giannis just discarded him out of the play.
Into the corner, Keldon Johnson driving on Portis. Got to the rim, and that quickness that he has at his lighter frame at 225, paying dividends. He's got his first bucket.
And because Giannis has to be all the way out there with Wembanyama, there's no rim protection there. Lopez out of the game.
Wembanyama will bring it across.
How many times do you see a 7'4", 7'5" guy bringing the ball up court?
A lot of people putting their minds around it still.
And you feel good about it.
Yeah. They talk about letting him remain creative with limited guardrails. Castle on the baseline. And off the miss, here's Middleton. Chris Middleton's minutes restriction right around 22, 23 minutes. Giannis going to walk down Champagnie and say it with his chest.
You get to one side of Giannis and he gets that contact Indian, spins right off it. There's no stopping that.
Antetokounmpo in double-digit scoring with 11.
Mark, that last possession, Wembanyama had Gary Trent Jr. switched off on him. He's got to get the ball in the post there. He's been much more decisive to just turn and shoot over.
Champagnie has it stuck on automatic here early. Knocks down his second 3-ball. Green, it'll count. He draws iron as Milwaukee leads by 4. 31-27 after 12 minutes of play.
Welcome back to NBA Wednesday, presented by State Farm. We're here with Mitch Johnson, the head coach of the Spurs. What do you like from that first quarter? You're down here, but what positives can you take?
I thought we showed crowds on a couple possessions. A few times we didn't get back in transition, but for the most part, I think we made them play in a crowd.
Giannis Antetokounmpo and your former college teammate Brook Lopez have combined for 6 buckets. What do you got to do to contain them?
Some of Brooks were from 3. Again, when you show crowds, if they make shots, it makes it tough. I think they made 6 or 7 threes. That's a little bit what we're trying to do, take away the rim. So a couple of other things, we didn't navigate a switch well. We gave up offensive rebound, transition, we didn't get back. Some of those little things, the threes exacerbated, but it's really the other stuff.
Coach, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Guys, back to you.
All right, Mitch Johnson, the interim head coach of the San Antonio Spurs. In lieu of Coach Greg Popovich, who's still out, Champagnie knocks down another 3-pointer. That's his 3rd one in as many tries, and the lead is back to down to 3.
And Champagnie's so quick from the catch to the release.
What a great story here. Dame left it on the front rim. Spurs out and running. They got a 3-on-2. Keldon Johnson through the contact, whistle, and that's going to be a charge. Welcome back, everyone, to Fiserv Forum in Milwaukee. The announcement a moment ago by Josh Tibbin, the official, that the challenge is successful. The call on the floor was a charge on Keldon Johnson. It has been overturned to a block on Chris Middleton. Subsequent to that, Jay, you're the lawyer sitting between here, the two of us. I mean, 2 free throws now, right?
2 free throws, yeah. The officials basically in replay determined that Middleton was still moving a bit to his left after the upward motion had started by Keldon Johnson. So it was a successful challenge and the call was overturned.
Keldon Johnson making a seamless adjustment to coming off the bench. Remember, a couple of years ago, he was the leading scorer on a team that didn't win many games.
They averaged 22 a game in 2023 pre-Wemby.
Trey Jones with the nice hit ahead to Castle. Skips through, missed the layup, but drew the foul. And Castle will go to the free throw line for a couple of shots. He's shooting 71% from the stripe. They don't want him turning down shots. They want him to stay aggressive as a rookie. It's going to be the second foul against Keldon Johnson. Pardon me.
Well,
Against Middleton.
Castle's hit 34 threes on the year, but he's only shooting 27% from three. But San Antonio really believes that he's going to be a consistent good shooter, so they don't want him passing up good open shots when he gets them. And to his credit, he's not done that. I think one of the things that's really impressed the Spurs organization is how well he passes, and he showed that at UConn. But he's got the ball in his hands much more now than he did when he was playing for Dan Hurley.
Well, they might have him on the Kawhi Leonard program here. And we know how that worked out. Dame lacerating the lane, getting the bucket. That's his first field goal in his 10 minutes of play. And Milwaukee back up by 2.
Well, Kawhi Leonard had the benefit of Chip Englund, who's now with Oklahoma City, one of the best shooting coaches in the game.
No doubt. Rebound by Bobby Portis. So with Giannis on the bench, Dame usually taking the opportunity to get going. Lopez on the pick and pop.
And doing it in transition. Lopez with those step-ups and drag ball screens in transition. That's really difficult for Wembanyama. Give help on the ball, and then you got to recover out to Lopez, who shoots it so well from so far out.
Champagnie putting it on the deck, working against Middleton. Portis switches on to him. Middleton on the switch has Wembanyama. 15-footer comes off to Lopez. So the Bucks get a stop, the number 10 rated defense in the NBA this year.
Yeah, really, it's been some offensive issues for Milwaukee this year. Didn't think that was going to be a problem. But defensively, they performed at a pretty high level.
Lopez from the free throw line. A little bit strong, and here's Trey Jones. Finds Castle. Little float game is good. And Castle with another bucket. 3-point lead. This is the first of 4 games on the road for the San Antonio Spurs. After this game, they'll fly to Los Angeles, which is at the center of a lot of news right now because of the nature cataclysm that's happening right there with the fires. Off the steal, Wembanyama. Good catch by Johnson. Wemby for 3. And Portis with the board.
Boy, how about that steal, though, on the other end by Wembanyama? Came over as a double-teaming big guy and took the ball away.
Jay, that's going to be a foul against Castle. Trying to contain Dame Lillard. That's his first personal foul. Let's take one more look at that steal you were alluding to.
Wembanyama comes over on the double team and uses those great hands to knock that ball away.
Plays the game with poise that belies his age. He just turned 21 years old several days ago, folks. Portis on the drive. Has it come off to Johnson. San Antonio has numbers if they want it. Here's Mamu at an open 3. Defers to Champagnie. And that's one of his rare misses from deep. Trent Jr. one more to Lopez. Some chase action. Trent Jr. gets it back. Wemby switches on to him. Portis with the mismatch. Missed it inside after having a good look.
Tried to go at the basket with Wembanyama out on the perimeter.
Oh, Champagnie got peeled clean. Long outlet to Prince. Cross court. And Dame going to run things. Spits it back out to Prince. And he left that three on the front rim.
Boy, Lopez has been open a couple times for threes, and Milwaukee just hasn't found him.
Milwaukee's three-point shooting right now, 7 of 16. Johnson spins on Lopez. Classy move inside by Keldon Johnson, who forces Doc Rivers to call the timeout. Welcome back, everyone. Let's take a look now at tonight's Star Watch, brought to you by GoDaddy.
Milwaukee's had good success using Brook Lopez in some ball screen action and pulling Victor Wembanyama away from the basket. He's just come off. Lopez has, you see him working that pick and pop action and ready to shoot when the ball arrives. He's just coming off a game in which he had 16 points, hitting 4 of 8 from 3 against the Raptors. And with that deep range that he's got, that can really open up the floor for Milwaukee.
Really impactful at both ends of the floor. Brook Lopez, a guy that's often overlooked when you stare down the roster. Lillard draws a lot of attention. That's why, knocking down a three ball. Dame shooting right around 37% from deep on the season.
After the timeout, just using Dame Lillard as a screener first, then popping out to the line.
Milwaukee leading by 4. Champagnie being guarded by Lillard. Wembanyama against Giannis. Shot clock down to 4. Giannis being extremely physical, got a piece of it. Here's Mamu at the end of the shot clock. And that's a good stop by the Bucks.
Boy, what a different look for Milwaukee out of that last timeout with all that ball pressure.
And Antetokounmpo couldn't get the lefty layup to go. A little bit strong. Here's Chris Paul.
And since he was out for those 4 games, part of it with that illness, you know, Giannis has not finished as well around the basket as he had earlier in the season.
That's a great point, Jay. And to think that he's still shooting well over 60% from the field is pretty amazing.
It's remarkable, really. But that illness took a lot out of him. He's still at a little bit of a deficit, as is Dame Lillard.
Lillard will go to the free throw line with a couple of shots. You bring up a good point. After winning the NBA Cup, the Emirates NBA Cup, as we take a look at this replay first.
Yeah, look how he's getting into his body, but it started with Dame Lillard really getting into the ball, and when Lillard wants to defend, he can defend. But the ball pressure, both by Lillard and Antetokounmpo on that last possession, was what led to that near shot clock violation and a bad shot at the end of the clock.
Hey, folks, next Wednesday, we have a star-studded ESPN NBA doubleheader for you. First, it's Joel Embiid and the 76ers hosting Jalen Brunson and the Knicks at 7:30. Then to cap off the night, it's Tyler Hero and the Heat taking on LeBron and the Los Angeles Lakers as Dame knocks down the second free throw. I was talking about the flu bug or whatever it was that ran through the Milwaukee Bucks roster in the immediate aftermath of their Emirates NBA Cup championship victory. Off the miss, it's Prince with the rebound. It really had its toll on their 2 stars in particular, Lillard and Giannis, who are just now still getting back to form. Lillard sprays it to the corner. That was deflected out of bounds or not.
Certainly
Dame
like
imploring Doc to challenge it. And they're not going to call timeout. That's the 3rd turnover.
Doc looking back at his bench saying, hey, we challenge this or not?
Well, Doc says we're going to put that one on layaway. Halfway through the second quarter. Both teams taking pretty good care of the basketball. Just 3 turnovers each. And Antetokounmpo with another rebound. He'll bring it across. Lopez with a deep 3. And Barnes with the rebound.
Well, he didn't get that to go, but because San Antonio was throwing so many bodies at Giannis, he is wide open for that. A good pass out.
Here's Champagnie. After starting off hot, he's missed his last couple 3 attempts. And Giannis into the front court again. We haven't seen many of those mid-range jumpers that he's gotten so much better at this year. Lopez in traffic and one. Lopez with a little muscle in his hustle.
Well, you saw Harrison Barnes guarding Giannis, and then Bassi came over, and that left Brook Lopez wide open. Vassell tried to come down and knock it away, but it was too late. Just a terrific find by Giannis, and that terrific job he did against Toronto when the Raptors threw so many bodies his way. He had 10 assists in the first half. I think wound up with 13 overall.
Yeah, an 11-point, 12 rebound, 13 assist. Triple-double. And right now Milwaukee in the middle of an 8-0 sprint. Off the double drag, it's Chris Paul inside to Bassi with a great feed, but he smoked the layup. Prince in transition. They've got numbers 4 on 3. Green with an easy lane.
AJ Green, he doesn't get many twos. 90% of his shots are from three-point range, and when you shoot it like he does, why take a two? But that one you can't turn down.
11-point lead now for the Bucks. Champagnie around the world against Lillard. Good defense by Dame. Wonderful effort to get the stop.
Well, Milwaukee's really turned up the heat the last several possessions. Better ball pressure.
Prince for 3. And contact underneath. That's going to be a foul against San Antonio. That's going to be the 14th foul. That's going to go against Chris Paul.
Just watch Chris Paul. That's 2 hands in the back. A little slip on top of it, but you put 2 hands in a player's back and he winds up underneath. That's going to be a foul.
Yeah, that's going to be his first personal. Chris Paul coming off a great effort in Chicago at 18 points and 9 dimes for the Spurs as they lost a late double-digit lead in Chicago a couple of nights ago.
Yeah, that had to be maybe their most disappointing loss of the season. They had a 19-point lead, did San Antonio against Chicago. And they went scoreless the last 3 minutes. A 10-0 Bulls run. Kobe White had 2 unbelievable plays down the stretch.
And there's the mid-range, Jay, that we've been alluding to, and the improvement, the precipitous rise in efficiency by Giannis from the mid-range.
It just makes a tremendous weapon even more of a weapon.
Vassell left that short. The loose ball rebound comes out to Bassi. Barnes with another chance. Champagnie drives the closeout. Good resistance at the rim by Giannis. Antetokounmpo in transition finds Dame. Dollar.
Giannis is looking like he's going to lead the league in assists this year instead of scoring. You have, when he's in transition with the ball, you have to load up the lane, and that means he's going to be able to find a shooter if they run.
A whistle and a foul against Milwaukee, and Giannis, the distributor, at work in a big way tonight. He's already got 6 assists. And Jay, this is a veteran team that doesn't have a lot of thoroughbreds, but they can run and score.
They've got a number of guys that can space the floor and can really shoot it. Gary Trent Jr. can shoot it. Green can really shoot it. Bobby Portis is an excellent shooter, especially from the corners. Taurean Prince can shoot it. Lopez can shoot it. Obviously, Dame Lillard, one of the best scorers the NBA's ever known, can shoot it. So there's a lot of weapons to really help Giannis and space around him.
16-point lead for Milwaukee. Chris Paul for 3, knocks it down to stop the hemorrhaging.
Well, you mentioned it. I think he's getting more aggressive looking to score in addition to distribute. That 18 points he had against Chicago were huge.
Lopez missed everything, left it short. We're going to have a loose ball foul. It's going to stay at this end as Chris Paul and Chris Middleton were wrestling for the basketball. You see the dismay etched across the countenance of Chris Paul. He's going to get his 2nd personal foul, and that's going to put his team in the penalty. Let's take one more look at it. Chris Middleton will go to the free throw line.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The first one against Giannis, I got 2 hands in the back. That one didn't. That just looked like rebounding, but.
Well, Middleton is going to go to the free throw line. We mentioned the fact that he missed the first 21 games of the season after off-season surgery on both ankles, and the juggling act right now is for Doc Rivers to, well, have his team continue to win games, but transition him into a starting role sometime. amidst some of the turnover.
Well, you can't imagine how difficult it is to come back from one ankle surgery, let alone double ankle surgery. The one thing that's been impressive about Middleton, he hasn't shot the ball over the last several games as well as he's capable, but his assists have been way up this year. He's averaging 5 assists a game over 12 games.
Good hands by Lillard, who is very intentional and purposeful at the defensive end tonight. Seeing a good performance from him tonight, Jay, as Trent Jr. checks into the ball game. Dame will sit down with 10 points on 2 of 5 from deep.
Yeah, in the second quarter, I think the Milwaukee defense has been much more focused and much more focused on ball pressure.
CP3 for 3, got it, laced it over Lopez.
They got the switch.
Lead is back down to 11. Giannis, the primary ball handler. Off the flat ball screen, pick and pop action with Lopez, gets it back against Wembanyama. Giannis downhill, got hung on the rim, then got peeled clean by CP3. Good defense by the Spurs. Ball lost the handle, retrieved it against Green. Sprays it out to Vassell for 3. CP3 battling underneath, but it comes off to Trent Jr. Antetokounmpo to Green, good catch. Green over Wemby, knocks it home.
What a shooting stroke A.J. Green has.
Castle trying to counter, and rebounded by Middleton on the move. Back to Green, pulls it, an audacious 3 by A.J. Green.
Right, this is the version of the Milwaukee Bucks that Doc Rivers believes, hey, you put something in front of us, we can beat anybody. I guess you put Victor Wembanyama in front of the Bucks in the first half, and they're going to get out to a big lead.
They've really responded. Vassell responds with a 3 of his own as we approach 1 minute to go. A.J. Green with consecutive 3s at the other end, though. He's got 14 already. I'm guessing he might get a touch here. On the ghost screen, it comes to Trent Jr. instead. Now Giannis on the block against HB. Harrison Barnes had no chance on that, Jay.
Well, when you're fading away and get that kind of height, and Giannis still messing with that right hand that he got a few stitches in after that last game against Toronto. He had a chase down block against R.J. Barrett and hit his right hand in between his ring finger and pinky finger, and it was bleeding the whole rest of the game.
Vassell, rim resistance at its peak. Giannis with the block. Wow, he canceled that flight.
But he's done everything in this game. Score, assists, blocks at the rim.
Middleton off the screen by Lopez. Playing with his foot over Barnes. And it comes off. They'll get another chance. Lopez from deep. Got it!
Now, does that count as a stick back?
It does in today's NBA. Castle at the buzzer. And that's the end of the first half of play as the Milwaukee Bucks finish with a torrent of three-point shooting to pull ahead 65-46. Lopez with 17, Giannis with 15. Coming up on the halftime presented by Hyundai, a recap of the Thunder-Cavs game, highlights of our game. Michael Eaves and Nicole Briscoe in the studio with that on the Hyundai halftime. A.J. Green and then Giannis at the other end, patrolling the skies for the Bucks. And the showdown between Wemby and Giannis, it's the Bucks with the lead so far. You're watching NBA Wednesday, presented by State Farm. From Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Fiserv Forum, the first meeting of the season between the Bucks and the Spurs. Let's take a look at our first half stats brought to you by ESPN Bet. 4 different players for the Bucks in double-digit scoring. That ties their largest halftime lead of the season. Moving forward, Lopez leading the way with 17. Mark Jones courtside along with Jay Billis, George Sedano joining us in just a bit. This was arguably the best first half for Milwaukee at both ends of the floor, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jay, was in the middle of everything. He had his fingerprints all over it.
He looked awfully motivated going against Victor Wembanyama. 15 points on 7 of 12 from the field for Giannis. 9 rebounds, 7 of them defensive, but what was really impressive to me, Mark, was his passing. San Antonio's trying to show him a lot of bodies. When he gets a double team or gets loaded up on, he is finding his teammates. And I think especially in the second quarter, you saw the pressure on the ball really ratchet up for Milwaukee, and they were contesting every shot. There were very few open shots for San Antonio in that second quarter. And on the game Monday that Milwaukee played against Toronto, they were 22 of 44 in that game from three-point range, 50%. They had 22 threes in this first half against San Antonio, 12 of 24. And a lot of that was because Giannis was finding open teammates when he got multiple players guarding him or at least shadowing him.
And Victor Wembanyama was conspicuous by his offensive silence in that second quarter. He didn't score a point in the second period on only 2 field goal attempts. Lillard brings it into the front court to start the third quarter. Andre Jackson, the starting 2 guard with Lillard in the backcourt. Giannis sets the ball screen. Barnes switches on to Lillard. Shot clock already down to 5 for Lopez out at midcourt. They got to work quickly. Lopez gets it off in time. Jackson gives them another opportunity.
Boy, what a great play by Andre Jackson Jr.
Giannis with the reverse slam.
Giannis very intelligently waiting for Wembanyama to essentially fly by so he could go to the other side of the basket. Even Giannis notices his presence around the 10.
Wonderful discernment by the Bucks big man. Here's Wembanyama, throws the lob for Castle. Wonderful find to Barnes for 3, and HB knocks it down.
That's the passing that Mitch Johnson was telling us about before the game that really impressed him from Stephon Castle. We saw it at UConn, but not quite to this level. He has the ball in his hands a little bit more, but that was Wembanyama as a pick and roll ball handler on that last play.
Here's Lillard. Step back 3 over Vassell. It's pure. Dame Lillard up to 13 on the night on a very efficient 4 of 8 from the field.
He gets separation as well as any guard in the league.
Everybody knows Dame puts in the work and the time. Gets back to the gym for 2, sometimes 3-a-day shooting sessions with Phil Beckner, his personal trainer. Wembanyama from deep laces that 3 ball. We had a feeling we might hear a little bit more from here in the third quarter after being quiet in the second. Wembanyama up to 10.
We saw the pride of the 2-time MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo, in the first half. We're going to see some of the pride of Victor Wembanyama in this second.
Oh, Giannis put him in the weight room, Jay. Must have been a shoulder day today for Giannis.
Just went right into his chest, and he shot straight back.
Here's Barnes on the wing on the show and go. That deceleration move for the reverse. Harrison Barnes, the savvy veteran. So important for what these Spurs have accomplished this year. Here's Giannis against Barnes this time. It's not Wembanyama. The double team comes from Vassell. And Giannis left it short. 18-point lead, Barnes. A little bit strong.
Even with a good block out, Wembanyama can knock it away.
Wow, that lob even too high for Wembanyama. But Barnes comes up with the steal. Good hands by Dame, but it deflects right to Vassell. We got a whistle and stop the play. Is what do we have? Infection control or somebody?
Look at Giannis right now going one-on-one against Wemby. Just gets right into him and knocks him straight back. And that is strength by the 2-time MVP.
I remember speaking with Giannis not that long ago and him telling me, Jay, that from the day he stepped into the NBA, at the Combine, in fact, to where he is now, he has put on 51 pounds of muscle. You remember what he looked like in Chicago at the Combine? A lithe and wiry.
Yeah, that was back in 2013.
Yeah.
And you knew he was going to get stronger, but I mean, look at his shoulders now. He is formidable. And when he gets going to the basket in transition, you're like, nobody's getting in front of him.
Leads the NBA in fast break points. And that's going to be a foul against Lillard, pushing Barnes into the backcourt. Let's go to George.
Jonesy, Jay, I spoke to Mick Johnson, the head coach or the interim head coach of the Spurs at halftime, about what adjustments they can make. And he specifically said on defense, they have a lot of things they need to work on, particularly the transition defense and how the Bucks are able to spray to the outside and nail those three-point shots. That the Spurs' 12 three-pointers has really hurt this team on defense. They need to do a much better job of getting out to those shooters and defending in transition, guys.
All right, George, that time CP3 knocking down the long ball. That's the dilemma, though, for a lot of teams that play Milwaukee, because, Jay, as we've talked about, they spread the floor so well with their shooting.
They not only spread the floor, Jonesy, but their ability to stretch the defense. I mean, if you've got a non-shooter on the floor, you don't have to guard that guy. You got to guard just about everybody with the lineups that Doc Rivers can put on the floor.
And Chris Paul getting much more aggressive, looking to hunt that three ball. He's knocked down 4 on 4 attempts tonight and brought his team back to within 12.
This copyrighted broadcast of the National Basketball Association may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the express written consent of the NBA.
Hey, the college football playoff semifinals are on ESPN tomorrow night. Notre Dame taking on Penn State in the Capital One Orange Bowl in Miami. Then on Friday, it's Ohio State and Texas in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic in Arlington, Texas. As the college football playoff winds to a crescendo and a big close. And hey, San Antonio Spurs, meanwhile, find themselves in the midst of an itinerant existence coming up here, Jay. Well-traveled. Look at that.
13 games in the month of January. They're going to travel about 20,000 miles, 20 days away from home, including 2 games in Paris against the Pacers. It's just a really important part of the schedule. It's going to be brutal. But, you know, this time last year, after 36 games, what was San Antonio, 6-30?
Yeah.
And now they're 18-18 with still a very young team, but a legitimate shot to reach the playoffs out of the West. I mean, they still have a chance to do that.
Well, the good news is we've got a quadruple header on the 25th, and that game on the 25th in Paris is going to be on our air. I think I figured out why they're going to Paris, Jay. You know,
Baguettes.
the big fella.
Yeah. Croissants.
I was not magna cum laude, but that one's an easy one. 8:05 to go in the third quarter. A.J. Green in the ball game. Dame in the backcourt as well. Giannis partially blocked by Wembanyama. No whistle. Back the other way. They got numbers 5 on 4. Barnes lost his balance, but drew the foul in the process.
Now, Wembanyama was blown by on this drive by Giannis, but made the recovery. Now, Giannis thinks he got fouled. Maybe there was a little contact. The referee said it was all ball. He certainly got ball first.
Because Wembanyama is so unique, plays that we just saw, are they hard, you think, for officials to officiate sometimes?
Of course, yeah. And I think both in college and the NBA, the officials are really good at letting the play happen before they whistle it.
Right.
So some fans may say, hey, this is a late whistle. They just let the play go so they could process it. But yeah, you're seeing blocks where usually when a guy gets blown by Giannis there, that's going to be a dunk and the play's going to be over once the blow-by happens. But Wembanyama is so lengthy and has such great timing, such great hands, he can wind up turning that into a block, which he just did.
And the Spurs have cut the lead down to 10. Lillard inside. Wembanyama with a block with a foul first. That'll send Lillard to the free throw line already with 13 points in a very efficient first half.
When you play with Wembanyama, I think it's incumbent upon you as a defender to be really disciplined. And look, it's tough not to foul there, but you can't foul when you've got a weapon like that can wipe it away. Give him the chance to block it.
That foul is going to go against Wemby. His second personal foul. Dame Lillard at the free throw line.
You see Chris Paul picking up this drive here. Now he doesn't foul. He wound up causing him to go right into Wembanyama. But anytime you're guarding the ball and Wembanyama's behind you, even when he's not behind you, he's going to get to the rim. You don't want to foul before he has the chance to block it or change it.
Know what you do? You just yell, help! Help! Not too much, but just enough.
Not even sure you have to yell with Wembanyama out there.
Castle bullying his way inside. And Giannis with a rebound. Milwaukee with numbers, 5 on 4. Antetokounmpo hits Lopez, the trailer, butter. And another assist for Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's trending towards a back-to-back triple-double here. He's got 7 dimes.
In the last 2 games, Brook Lopez has made 9 threes. And there's still a long way to go in this one.
Boy, Prince just suffocating Wembanyama. Here's Chris Paul. Lopez switches onto him. There's the mismatch. Barnes draws the hit. And Harrison Barnes will go to the free throw line once again.
Giannis, especially over the last 2 games, has done such a good job of drawing defenders and finding open teammates. And Brook Lopez in transition just runs to that 3-point line. And when he was playing under Mike Budenholzer, I mean, they stretched the floor 2 or 3 steps along that 3-point line so they could step into 3-point shots. And Lopez can shoot it from really deep. That line is nothing to him.
Yeah. And along that line of thought, Jay, there are a lot of NBA teams now where when they scrimmage during practices, they'll extend that 3-point line another 3 or 4 feet and make it a 4-point line to really make sure that the teams get into the habit of shooting extended threes.
Yeah, and to get the spacing even better. But at least that way you're stepping in to the line instead of towing the line.
Giannis in the mid-range. That's a rare miss from him from that distance tonight. He's knocked down a couple already. The lead at 13. Prince on Chris Paul. Pick and pop with Harrison Barnes. And HB on his HBO, which means help a brother out. He sure did there.
And Chris Paul has always been a lead in ball screen offense.
Straight line drive and one. Antetokounmpo with an opportunity for the 3-point play.
Just stretched out that left hand. And even Wembanyama finds that difficult to get to. Got into his body first. And Giannis is just so strong. It's like a running back going through the line, protecting the ball so they can't punch it away.
Antetokounmpo up to 21 points right now. Talking about that mid-range, which has become so much more accurate. He's concentrating on shooting the ball on the way up, and even from the free throw line, Jay, and also getting a little bit more arc on the ball.
Well, the basket gets bigger, the more arc you use. But you know, that point about shooting it on the way up, that's where all your power comes from as a shooter. And a lot of guys that shoot it at the apex on the way down are trying to guide it.
Dame knows when to shoot it, drives it this time, finds Giannis in the dunker, and that one ends up with Andre Jackson. Giannis points to his chest, says, my bad.
Everybody knew that.
It's a reflex. Reflex action. 13-point lead for Milwaukee, looking for their 19th win of the season against 16 defeats. Harrison Barnes keeping the Spurs in it this quarter with 12 points in the period. Inside, good pass by CP3.
Well, there's just a double drag up top. Roll space action. Bassey found himself wide open. Just a beautiful pass from Chris Paul.
Lead back down to 11, 5.5 to play in the third. Into the corner, Lopez pulls the 3. Hit the side of the backboard. And San Antonio can get this into single digits. Nice in and out dribble by CP3, who connects on the 3. Timeout, Doc Rivers in Milwaukee. And the lead is down to 8 points. Chris Paul, very intentional about trying to score it tonight. Got a clean look and didn't need much space. Hey, next Wednesday we have a star-studded ESPN NBA doubleheader for you. First, it's Joel Embiid and the 76ers hosting Jalen Brunson and the Knicks at 7:30. Then to cap off the night, it's Tyler Hero and the Heat taking on LeBron and the Los Angeles Lakers. Boy, Miami bouncing back on the second night of a back-to-back winning in San Francisco last night against Golden State. Behind a balanced effort. Jaime Jaquez playing some good basketball on this road trip for the Heat. Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes keeping the Spurs in this game in the third quarter.
Paul especially has been really aggressive offensively, and he was very aggressive. Yeah, he had a bunch of single-digit scoring games going into that game against Chicago and put up 18 against the Bulls and made a lot of really good decisions.
Jay, Jonesy, it feels like Chris Paul has taken advantage in this third quarter of the deep drop that the Bucks are playing here defensively.
Yeah, I think that's right. But anytime he's in a pick and roll situation, he makes such good decisions. You know, came off that last one, shot it back to an open shooter at the three-point line.
Boy, Dame gets the separation that counts. Knocks down the midi. Make it a 10-point game again, a little over 4 minutes to go.
Yeah, the last possession he tried to throw that lob to Giannis, and he would have been better off pulling up for that short jumper in the lane.
This time Portis switches on to Paul. He's playing with his food out there, fires, and rebounded by Milwaukee. Dame Lillard was 17 in the game off the screen. Giannis rolls, it goes to the corner. Portis pulls, and Johnson hands it off to CP3. Spurs on the move. Champagnie. And here's Middleton. Middleton in 13 minutes tonight has 4 points. He's only taken 3 shots. Lillard, step back 3. Got it. Dame with 20. And if it's Dame time, it means a timeout for San Antonio.
Creates space as well as any guard in the league. Simple step back and a beautiful stroke from deep.
Milwaukee with 4 players in double digits, scoring 3 of them with 20 or more, including Antetokounmpo, Lillard, and Brook Lopez.
And Giannis has 7 assists to go along with those 22 points and 12 rebounds. And Lopez and Lillard are a combined 9 of 17 from 3. So those 40 points they've combined for.
First time this season they've had those 3 with 20 or more. Let's see what the Spurs run out of the timeout. Vassell off the flare. Johnson hands it off to Vassell. Pulls up over Green. And it comes out loose. Portis tapped it to Trent. And here's A.J. Green, who had that fabulous shooting first half. Middleton off glass.
Just not great transition defense by San Antonio. And a good pass ahead, advanced pass by A.J. Green.
Quick catch and shoot by Vassell. Rattles home. Evan Vassell rounding into shape after getting a slow start to the season because of that foot injury.
He missed all of camp. He was out for, what, 7 or 8 months.
And he's a great story. One of several on that Spurs roster, Jay. Historically, they always seem to find those guys. Vassell out of Florida State. But get this, folks. Going back to high school, didn't play a lot of AAU basketball. His dad told me he had 2 offers coming out of high school, Jay. One was Presbyterian College. The other one was University of North Florida. And here he is in the NBA.
He would rather be a Seminole than a Blue Hose.
The Blue Hose. I knew their nickname.
The Blue Hose.
That's Presbyterian College's nickname. I knew that. First bucket of the ball game for Bobby Portis off of Doc's bench. Vassell inside. Green with the steal. Bucks off and running. Middleton with Giannis. Back out to Trent. Middleton relocates. Portis thought about it. Middleton for 3. Tipped up. Giannis underneath. Couldn't gather. It's knocked out of bounds. It'll stay at that end. Milwaukee basketball.
pretty good patience by Milwaukee. They had opportunities to take some shots there, but waited until they got a wide open one, just missed it.
Giannis at the elbow. Doc Rivers trying to play him off the elbow a little bit more this year. Portis had that partially blocked by Bassi, who falls down in front of us. Champagnie pulls a three. San Antonio shooting at about 43% from downtown, but looking for some here to get it back within double digits or lower.
The last few times down, Giannis has tried to force some passes. It's almost like he's trying to rack up assists instead of making the right play. He made so many great plays in the first half.
Vassell with a couple of tries from downtown, and Portis with good hustle to keep it in play.
He is such a valuable player.
Giannis on the drive, got to the rim, and couldn't finish.
Those are some of the layups he hasn't been finishing the last 4 or 5 games that are unusual.
And Keldon Johnson finished that layup, Jay, for the three-point play attempt. Going to be a foul against Bobby Portis.
It's amazing. You miss a chippy on one end and then wind up giving up transition on the other. And Bobby Portis just giving up a foul there that was unnecessary.
So Wembanyama will come back into the ball game on 4 of 8 from the field, total of 10 points, 6 rebounds for the big man. Bobby Portis committing the foul on Johnson. Johnson said it was a total lifestyle change that allowed him to drop that 30 pounds over the summer. Hiring a chef has its benefits, Jay Billis.
I wouldn't know. I'm usually the chef.
You're making dinner, huh? Middleton drew the foul on the play. What do you make of Chris Middleton's night so far? I know we're almost 3/4 into it, but what are your thoughts?
I mean, he's looked good. You know, Doc Rivers was saying before the game, you know, he can kind of tell. He and his staff can kind of tell with his movement on defense, because it can be difficult game after game for his lateral movement. It's not necessarily a pain issue.
We all remember how great Middleton was in that series against the Indiana Pacers last year. Hit a buzzer beater in Indianapolis in one of those road games in that series. Of course, Giannis was unable to play in that series, and Dame was injured as well. The Bucks severely undermanned. Right now leading by 12 against the Spurs with 31 seconds to go in the third quarter. Johnson comes out of the ball game. It'll be Trey Jones and Chris Paul in the backcourt. The lead back up to 13.
It's late in the third quarter, obviously, to see if they can get Victor Wembanyama involved. He hasn't felt involved in this third quarter. Ever since the first quarter, he hadn't really been involved.
Chris Paul off the stagger. Giannis switches onto him. There's the mismatch. Wembanyama from 19, a little bit strong. Well defended. 5 to go for Antetokounmpo. Working against Trey Jones. Sprays it to the corner. Middleton. And that's the end of 3 periods. Milwaukee leading by 13. Antetokounmpo with 22 to lead the way.
Welcome back to NBA Wednesday, presented by State Farm. We're here with Doc Rivers, the head coach of the Bucks. You guys are the second best three-point shooting team in the league, but you're even outdoing yourself today. 15 threes thus far. So let me ask you this. What has led to the success there so far?
Well, defensive stops and then ball movement. Exactly what we didn't do in that quarter right there. I thought we came out really flat defensively, and that affected us on the offensive end. We get to the paint. With the shooters we have, we'll get great shots.
How do you fix, though, that defensively?
We got to get stops. We just got to be more physical. I thought we let up in physicality.
All right, Doc, good luck. Thank you. All right, guys, back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, George. And Milwaukee with possession here off the turnover. Lillard drives it. Middleton in the corner against Barnes. Good look. Portis over Wembanyama. Got it back. Missed twice, and that's what he does around the rim defensively.
He forces you to rush it. You know, those were 2 rush shots by a terrific player, Bobby Portis, but it's like trying to shoot over a 7'5" praying mantis. It's really remarkable the length of his arms and how he can time things out to really go after that ball in the air after it leaves your hand. Now, sometimes he'll block it out of your hand, but most of the time it's after it leaves your hand.
And Trey Jones converts the three-point play at the other end. San Antonio hanging around, down by 10. Here's Lillard working against Jones, right to the cup, and gets the layup. Lillard with 22.
Yeah, one of the things in the second quarter, Jonesy, that I thought made Milwaukee's defense much better was their ball pressure. They really impacted the ball in the second quarter. And you heard when George Sedano was talking to Doc, he didn't feel like they had that edge defensively in the third quarter. Can they bring it in the fourth? Because this San Antonio team is still hanging around.
Lillard working against Trey Jones. Dame draws the foul. Will go to the free throw line for a couple more shots. Lillard with 22 on 4 of 7 from deep.
And that's the sort of foul that we talked about a little bit earlier. Trey Jones picking up the foul after Lillard got past him a little bit. Like, don't foul. Let Wemby have a chance to knock that thing away or change it. You foul, all of a sudden you're putting a great free throw shooter on the line.
This is what you're talking about, right?
You got to blow by here, but don't make the mistake of fouling here. Let Wemby get over there. He's the presence. Now, could he have gotten there? I don't know, but he gets there a lot. And I'd rather have him have the opportunity to block it than put Dame Lillard at the line.
Lillard knocks down the free throw, up to 24 for the game, to lead up to 14.
He's starting to look like Dame again after that illness.
He really is. People really underestimate the significant adjustment he had to make last year, right before the season began, moving everything his entire life to Milwaukee. Off the steal. They got numbers. Trent Jr. steps back for 3, knocks it down home.
What a great play by Gary Trent Jr. Read that like a free safety, shot the gap. And it used to be you get a turnover, you're taking that thing to the rim. Now you're running to the three-point line.
This is today's NBA.
But when you can shoot it like that, he's a 41% three-point shooter. And you'd have to work really hard in your half-court offense to get a shot that wide open. And so why not take it?
Yeah, Trent Jr.'s been coming back to the practice facility in Milwaukee and putting in extra hours with Spencer Rivers, one of the assistant coaches on the staff.
How about this? When he got traded to Milwaukee from Toronto, he got traded on the exact same day his dad did 23 years later. The exact same date. The two teams. That's the same two teams in the trade.
That's some kind of karma. The basketball gods can be funny sometimes, Jay, but what a putback that time by Keldon Johnson, going airborne. The lead at 15. Order one more. Here's Trent Jr. again, and he's really locked in. There are nights where after games he'll go right back to the practice facility, either with Coach Rivers or with his father, Gary Sr., and get up some extra shots if Dad doesn't like what he's seen during the game.
Well, it's paying off because the last 5 games, Gary Trent Jr. coming into this one was 11 of 24 from 3.
Here's Lopez, has the mismatch against Keldon Johnson. Going to try and take him to the rim. Finds Middleton behind the arc. And Wembanyama corrals the loose ball. Here's Johnson. That falls, and Keldon Johnson brings them back to within 15 with a little over 9 minutes to go.
San Antonio can't afford to trade baskets. They got to get stops.
Wembanyama picks up Lillard. Lillard going to pull this out. Portis on Barnes. Shot clock below 5. The Bucks kind of stalled out that time, Jay.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a settle. You don't want to take a contested 2.
Oh, Lopez, the NBA's active blocks leader, with another one there. Champagny all over Middleton, gets it across.
Boy, Brook Lopez's career has been amazing, really.
Lillard on the kick out. Inside. And a nice reverse layup.
Yeah, a great cut off the penetration. Just too easy to get into the lane. But back to Lopez, when you think about when he came out of Stanford, I mean, he was more of a low post big guy. He was the Nets' all-time leading scorer, never made a three. And he's turned into a three-point shooting, rim protecting specialist. Really amazing.
Says a lot that he can alchemize the type of change to prolong his career, and Portis fouled at the other end.
Yeah, the only two players I can think of in the NBA that have had that kind of transformation have been Brook Lopez and Al Horford.
Al Horford.
You know, when Al Horford came out of Florida, he was a low post big guy. Wasn't considered. Now he's knocking down threes and spacing the floor for Boston.
Bobby Portis going to the free throw line for the Bucks. An 80% free throw shooter. Taurean Prince getting ready to come into the ball game for Milwaukee. CP3 and Castle for the Spurs. Look at that seismic change in the type of shots that he's taking.
Yeah, and against Toronto recently, he knocked down his 1,000th three of his career. And that's going 6 years without making a single one to start his career. When Doc Rivers was saying, you know, when he was with Brooklyn, never made a three. He was their all-time leading scorer. And sometimes his Bucks teammates, when he's shooting too many threes, will say, hey, let's get back to Brooklyn Lopez. They call him Brooklyn. Beat Brooklyn Lopez.
That's a key word to activate his low post game. Here's Lillard. That's going to be a blocking foul against Harrison Barnes. We were talking about Dame a little bit earlier. Has so many fans around the globe, here in Milwaukee, in Portland, where he spent most of his career, but a special one in Oakland, where he's from. Dorothy Bowie, who's watching the game tonight, celebrating her 90th birthday. A huge fan of Lillard. One of thousands. And a nice jump hook there by Brook Lopez.
Brooklyn Lopez.
Brooklyn.
That was Brooklyn Lopez. The low post game.
Oh, you might have heard you, Jay. Barnes with the miss. Wemby kept it alive out to Champagnie. Here's Barnes. Wembanyama thought about it. Shot clock down to 5 for Champagnie. That's the right man for the job. The wrong result, though. And here comes Lillard. 7 minutes to go. Dame weaving out to Trent Jr. Got hot hand. He's got enough to feed the needy tonight. Gary Trent Jr. 3 for 3 from deep.
The NBA on ESPN is presented all season long by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Well, this year, NBA All-Star is back with a brand new twist. You can vote today and every day to ensure your favorite players make it to the Bay this February. Vote on the NBA app or head to nba.com/vote to cast your ballot now. It'll be an interesting new format at the All-Star game this year with the several teams knockout format. So that we'll see Giannis there. With several others, Dame, Wemby.
Yeah, and even a game like this where Wembanyama has not played anywhere near his best, he's still got 10 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 blocks.
It's on nights like this, Jay, where you have to remember, I think, that he just turned 21 several days ago. Lillard taking it all the way to the basket. Dame up to 26.
When Milwaukee is healthy, they're going to be heard from in the playoffs. I really believe that. With the way this team shoots it.
Giannis commits the foul on Keldon Johnson.
Yeah, in transition, San Antonio not doing a very good job at all of stopping the ball. Just through the legs, splitting 2 defenders, getting all the way to the rim with ease. It was a great move by Dame, but not great defense by Keldon Johnson.
Might have gotten hit on the arm, too, as Keldon Johnson goes to the free throw line. You know what I've really enjoyed about this game tonight, Jay? And you and I talked about it during the halftime break. The fact that Giannis has taken on the challenge of guarding Wembanyama. You love to see that kind of competitive spirit in today's game when sometimes the quote-unquote stars don't always guard the other star on the other team. They sometimes hide them on the other team's worst score.
Yeah, I think Giannis has shown a ton of pride in this game. I mean, clearly he's motivated having Wembanyama come into this building to say, hey, look, I'm the two-time MVP. You're the next thing, but I'm the current thing.
There you go. And right now, the topical thing and shooter is Trent Jr. Now 4 for 4 from downtown. And the three ball continues to fall for Milwaukee. Johnson with an answer at the other end.
And Lopez just needed to have his hands up. I mean, he wasn't going to take away the drive, take away the shot.
Little empty corner two-man action with Lillard and Giannis. Nice dump off to Lopez. Wasn't ready. Couldn't make the catch, and off the turnover. Here comes Wembanyama up to Johnson. Inside, couldn't get it to fall.
A good job by Taurean Prince to keep his body right in front of Johnson. What a catch.
Giannis inside, looking for some daylight. Wembanyama fouls Antetokounmpo. That's going to be his 4th foul.
This was a next level catch. Ball's behind him, caught it, and you don't think he notices the presence of Wembanyama. Look at that.
Tried to clear out a little bit with the off arm there momentarily.
And Giannis getting the MVP chant here in Milwaukee, as he should.
Yeah, certainly in the conversation, no doubt.
It's kind of hard to say no to Nikola Jokic with the dominant performance he's had, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been just as good.
Giannis knocks down the first. Hey, let's take a look at the upcoming national TV schedule. NBA TV Thursday. Tomorrow has T-Wolves against the Magic at 7. NBA TV Friday, OKC against New York at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. TNT next Tuesday has Cavs Pacers, followed by Nuggets Mavs. And what a game tonight between the Cavs and OKC, with Cleveland winning despite the fact that Donovan Mitchell, their leading scorer, did not have a great shooting night. Jared Allen was outstanding with an impressive double-double that speaks to Cleveland's depth. And if you're speaking about awards other than MVP, Coach of the Year has to certainly get leaning towards Kenny Atkinson at some point.
Kenny Atkinson has done a spectacular job in Cleveland, and the role definition of that team is so impressive. You know, Darius Garland looks like a new man right now, playing with Spider Mitchell, and then Evan Mobley has taken his offense to a new level. He's averaging over 18 a game this year.
Jay, I love the fact that the two big man system is working pretty well for them in the way that they run their offense. Here's Paul over the wing. Vassell. That rims out to Castle. He couldn't get the handle out of bounds. It'll stay Spurs basketball with 4:35 to go. A.J. Green will come into the ball game. And Gary Trent Jr. will sit down.
Green was so good in that first half. He had 14 points, 4 of 5 from 3.
And Trent leaves with 14 points. Jay with 4 of 4 from deep. So that's the prevailing theme of the night, the proficient three-point shooting for the Bucks.
I wonder what the horse games look like in practice in Milwaukee. I mean, A.J. Green, if he gets an open shot with his feet set, it's the equivalent of a layup for anybody else.
Certainly is one of the better hoopers to come out of Iowa recently. Played against the Murray twins, Keegan and Chris, in high school.
Harrison Barnes is an Iowa product.
Yes.
Went to Ames High School. Played with Doug McDermott in high school.
I think they went 53-0 it was. Chris Paul trying to turn the corner. Green, a very good defender, but couldn't stop Chris Paul on that occasion. Chris Paul 6 of 10 from the field. He's got 18. Milwaukee will jump on the plane and head down to Orlando before coming back home in their next couple of games. Meanwhile, San Antonio will fly to Los Angeles.
Missed a layup.
Take him out, Doc. Take him out. He's done. He's cooked. On the pick and pop, Johnson drives it on Lopez. Great use of the left. You know what? I'm going to ask my wife for a chef for Christmas next year. If Keldon Johnson's got a chef, I need a chef.
She'll give you a copy of that movie with Jon Favreau in it.
Oh. Giannis off the elbow. There's that one-legged step back that's becoming very routine and very repeatable and very makeable for Antetokounmpo.
They hit one of those against Toronto. The key in that is getting contact into the defender and then going back. That's unblockable.
Did a little work with Drew Hanlon over the summer on that. Working with his trainers and the great national team as well. Look at the story of our two Quasars on the court tonight. Antetokounmpo with the edge, 25 points on 11 to 21, and more than anything else, he really embraced the challenge of taking on Wembanyama tonight and doing it at both ends of the floor. Look at the energy that it takes to do it, especially defensively, Jay.
Yeah, he's been physical with him on the defensive end and actually physical against him on the offensive end. But it's the 25 points and 16 rebounds. It's also the 8 assists. Now he's had a few turnovers, 4 turnovers, trying to maybe do too much on a few plays, trying to squeeze an assist in when it wasn't there. But just another spectacular performance. You know, spectacular has become routine for Giannis.
Right.
A guy that averages 31 points a game. You know, when you only have, what, 25. Underachieving.
Oh boy. Doc's holding him back. Coach is holding him back. Under 3 minutes to go. And Rivers has emptied his bench. Here's Marjon Beauchamp. Green off the curl. And a rare miss for him. Johnson with another rebound for the Spurs. Random looking inside. Collins lost control, and it comes off to Rollins. So Milwaukee will earn its 19th win of the season against 16 losses. Green pulls again and missed everything. That might have been partially blocked. Johnson fouled by Rollins. And Keldon Johnson going back to the free throw line for a couple of shots. Hey, Kendrick Perkins joins SportsCenter. That's coming up next to talk about the matchups from all the games tonight, plus the latest on Jalen Hurts' injury status and a report from the Orange Bowl ahead of tomorrow night's big game. SportsCenter with Nicole Briscoe, Michael Eaves on ESPN and the ESPN app. And Jay, we talked about it a little bit earlier tonight at the top of the show with the environmental cataclysm happening in Los Angeles right now with the fires. We want to send out our thoughts and prayers for a hedge of protection around our neighbors in California.
It was such a tragic happening. I grew up just south of Pacific Palisades and Rolling Hills in Southern California and have so many friends in that area. Just devastating. And so certainly send out all our best. You know, J.J. Redick had to move his family out of that area. Was texting back and forth with him, just offering all our best wishes and hope his family's safe.
Wesley back out to Mamu for 3. Here's Beauchamp. Another one of those talented players out of the Seattle area.
Ryan Reynolds with the ball right now. Or Ryan Rollins said Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Rollins from Toledo. He's a good player. He's on a 2-way contract, hoping to get guaranteed. But he offers a ton of athleticism and length, and he's a really good defender.
Yeah, he's had some moments of brilliance, Jay, in the G League with the Herd.
I think he's got 23 more games that he's got to get in order to become fully guaranteed. I tend to think that's going to happen.
The way it's trending right now, whistling a foul as Mamu goes to the free throw line. And speaking of contracts getting guaranteed, it was interesting. I was joking around with Gary Trent Jr. at shoot-around this morning about winning the Emirates NBA Cup. And he said, yeah, the first thing I did was, check to see when that thing hit. He said those commas hit a week later, right on time. No financial incentive, but we saw the best version of the Milwaukee Bucks from 1 through 15 during the Emirates NBA Cup. as they took it home. And you think about that $500,000 winning prize for each player. For guys on two-ways, that's a big deal.
That's a huge deal for them. And Jonesy, I was so sorry when Sandro Mamukelashvili left Seton Hall. So it took me a long time to be able to say Mamukelashvili.
Did you have to give those vowels back?
I'm just glad to be able to use those skills again tonight.
121-99, 40 seconds to go. It's been pretty much all Milwaukee from the opening tip. Mamu and one on the block. He's given me permission to abbreviate it to just Mamu.
I think that's a good decision on your part.
We worked that out when he was a member of the Bucks last year. With 32.9 to go. Chance to complete the three-point play. 4 years at Seton Hall, 4th year in the NBA.
There's a 54th pick in 2021, the NBA draft.
Anybody that can speak not just English, but Georgian, Russian, and Italian can travel with me anywhere.
I can speak Georgian, y'all.
Not that one.
Oh, is that
the country? Think Zaza Pachulia, Georgia, that kind of Georgia. With 8.4 to go. Well, take the violation, and that'll pretty much do it. Milwaukee Bucks improved to 19-16, 12-7 at home. Mamu with another late bucket. And that'll do it. The final score, 121-105. Giannis leading the way with 25 points, 16 rebounds, and 8 assists. Having a little fun with official Derek Richardson. Lillard, meanwhile, with 26 points, 5 rebounds, and 8 assists. As the Bucks will take on the Magic in their next run. Final thoughts, Jay?
This version of the Milwaukee Bucks, when they play with this kind of focus and defensive intensity, with the way they shoot the ball, they are going to be a handful in the playoffs. I mean, they showed it in the NBA Cup, but they're going to be formidable when we get to the end of the season.
Right now, the Bucks stand 5th in the Eastern Conference. And you think about them starting off 2-8. What an incredible turnaround by this group. And you throw out losses to sub-500 teams recently when they were missing a lot of players who were ill with that bug that ran its way through the locker room. This team is definitely trending in the right direction.
Get healthy, stay healthy, and build toward the end.
And George is standing by with the Antetokounmpo.
Thank you, Jonesy. Giannis, when I spoke to you at the NBA Cup after you guys won, you said that was what you guys were capable of. Tonight, another dominating performance. You've dealt with injuries, you've dealt with illnesses. How can this team continue to be the team you saw tonight?
You just got to play together. We got to play together. We got to compete defensively. When we compete defensively, we're very hard to beat. You know, I feel like after the Cup, we kind of took the foot off the gas. We wasn't the same team. We were like, I think we were 3-5 in the games after the Cup. So we just got to keep getting back in rhythm. Got to keep realize what makes us great. When we compete as a team, you know, defensively, then offensively, we move the ball, we play with one another. We're very, very hard to beat.
Speaking of great, I know you don't like the individual accolades or talking about it. You like talking about the team, but today you passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for most double-doubles in franchise history. What does that say about your sustained success?
I'm just trying to play hard. I'm just trying to be consistent for my team. I'm just trying to do the right things that takes to win games. Sometimes when you think that way, individual accolades happen. But I just want to win games. I just want to be remembered of a guy that helped this team win games.
Giannis, congratulations. Thank you as always.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Guys, back to you.
Giannis, addicted to winning. Not to mention his maniacal, invariable work ethos. Another stellar performance tonight against another impressive big man, Wemby. Once again, our final score, 121-105 for Jay Billis and Jorge Sedano, I'm Mark Jones saying so long from Milwaukee. Right now, let's send you to SportsCenter.